Hello dear friends, welcome back to the Java tutorials. In this particular session, we are going to understand about the Java server pages and JDBC with MySQL. So initially, we focus on the Java server pages, how to create a simple JSP page inside the Eclipse, then how to configure the Apache Tomcat server to run the JSP page, then how to connect to MySQL database from your JSP page. We are using here MySQL database as a part of Xampp server. So on this machine, Xampp is already installed, consists of MySQL database is already there, and Eclipse IDE is also installed for writing the Java server pages. Eclipse for enterprise editions is already installed. So let's start understanding how to write a simple application in Eclipse. So first I'm going to create the project, dynamic web project in Eclipse, and I'm specifying the name of this project as JSP demo, JSP MySQL demo. Okay, and the target runtime that I am using is uh, Apache Tomcat, and the path that I have given to this Apache Tomcat is derive Apache Tomcat. Apache Tomcat is just a folder that I have downloaded from internet, so that is particularly required for browsing the web pages, or this allows us to execute the web pages on different machine, or to test the JSP page. The Apache Tomcat server is needed. So you have to download the Apache Tomcat server from internet, and you have to keep that folder inside the D drive. And then here you have to specify the name of that folder so that you will be able to run the JSP pages. So after I selecting the Apache Tomcat folder as a target runtime, and when I click on finish, so my JSP uh, MySQL demo project is ready. So here I'm going to create a new JSP file by right clicking on the project and selecting the JSP page and giving the name to the JSP page as page1.jsp, and after I click on the finish button, one JSP page will be added here. I'm going to design a simple form for getting the input. I'm going to design a simple form for getting the name and email on the page, and I'm going to save this name and image in the MySQL database. So for that I have designed this particular, I'm going to design this particular form. So I'm using the HR as attribute to underline this particular heading tag, and inside the H1 and H1 I am registration is the heading that I am specifying here, and after that I am using the form tag and specifying the action of the form tag as save.jsp. So this is the page that I am going to create to save the data that is entered in this form. So when user click on the submit button on this form, the data will be transferred to the save.jsp, and the method that I am using for sending the data to the page is post. Instead of center tag, I am going to design the simple form for getting the name and email. So for that I am writing here a table tag, table, specifying the border of the table as 1, and align of the table is center, and then I am specifying the width of this table as 900 pixel. 900 pixel. So in between table and end table, I am going to create a tr, and inside the tr I am going to create a td, entity, and here I'm specifying enter name in a one column, and in another column I am going to design one input type for getting the text from user as a name, and specifying the name to that text as f name. Okay, then after designing this particular row, so same row I'm going to copy for getting the email, and here I'm specifying the message as enter email. Input type is text and only changing the name of the input type as email, right? And after that, one more row I'm going to add in this table. So here in the first column of this row I'm keeping blank, and on the second column I'm adding the submit button and giving the name of the submit button as b1 and the value on this button as send data. Okay, once user click on this send data button, so I'm going to send the data to the save.jsp page. Now we'll test for this simple JSP page, so whether it works or not we'll test. So for that I'm going to expand this application. I have expanded this web application, and I am right clicking on this page one and choosing this run as option and run on server option. So when I click on this run on server, it asks me for the save. So after I save this page, so it asks me for the Apache Tomcat server on which that particular JS page will be executed. So default server that is configured here in Eclipse is Tomcat 9.0. So I'm going to click on finish. So once I click on finish, the output of the page is displayed in an internal browser like this. So here I'm going to enter something, and I'm going to click on this send data button. Once I click on the send data button, a save.jsp page will be open and the data will be passed to this JSP page. Now we need to create this save.jsp page. So how to create the save.jsp page? So for creating the save.jsp page, you just have to right click on your project folder, then select new and then choose JSP file, and here I am specifying the name of the JSP file as save.jsp. Now I'm going to click on finish. So this JSP page will be added here. So on this JSP page, first I need to read the data that is entered by user. So data will be sent to this page. So I'm getting the data in name variable and email variable. For getting the name for that is entered in a text box name. So I have declared this variable, and I am calling the request object, and inside it there is a get parameter function to which I can read the data. This function requires the name of the parameter or the name of the text box. So name of the text box that I have given on page 1 is f name. So I am making copy of this f name and putting that value here. So after that, f name will be available in name variable, and then I am reading the email text box, and the value of the email text box I am keeping in email variable. So I have read the data. I can display the data here, but instead of displaying the data on the page, I want to store this data on a database. So first we need to create the database, MySQL database. So for that, Xampp server is installed here, and I'm using the MySQL database as a part of Xampp server. So to check whether the Xampp server is available on this machine, So we have to move towards the D drive. On the D drive, I have installed the Xampp server. So this Xampp server you just have to download from internet and you have to follow the instruction. After installing the Xampp server, Xampp folder will be available on your CO, either CO or D drive. So you have to double click on this Xampp server and then you have to choose the Xampp control file. Double click on the Xampp control file. After that, this particular window will open. So from that window, you have to start the Apache server and the MySQL server so that we will able to access the MySQL database online. So after starting this, both the service have started successfully. So I'm closing this and then I'm moving toward the browser and I'm specifying the URL on the browser for accessing the MySQL database. When I specify the URL as localhost, this particular page of Xampp server is installed, is displayed on the browser. So from that you have to select this PHP MyAdmin option so that you will able to create the MySQL database. Here is the default website of MySQL database. So you can see here the list of databases already created in this MySQL database. So here, when I click on this databases option, you will find the list of databases already present in the MySQL database. So I'm creating the new database called student, and I'm after specifying the name of the database as student, I'm click on this create button. So after that, a database will be created, and this database will be selected here. Inside this database, I'm going to create a table student, and in that table, I'm going to create the three different columns. So after specifying the number of columns to be created in the table, I'm going to click on the go button. So I'm specifying the first column as ID and specifying the auto increment for this column. So this value I need not to be entered in the table. So for second column, I'm specifying the name as name and choosing the data type as var character and the size is 30. And to the second column, third column, I'm specifying the column title as email, data type as var character and email as 30. Okay, after this I'm going to click on the save option. So once that, a table will be created. So here is the table, contains IF name and email. When I click on the browse option, it will show me the records available in the table. Currently there is no record in the table. So we are going to insert a record into this table. So for inserting the record into this table, so what is needed is you have to connect to the MySQL database, and for connecting to the MySQL database, you must have a MySQL connector on this machine or the MySQL drivers available on this machine. To download the MySQL driver, if the drivers are not there, you can search for the uh, MySQL Java MySQL driver, Java MySQL connector. You can search for the Java MySQL connector, and from the website you can download the MySQL connector jar file. So from the java2yes.com website, you can download the connector file. Once you double click on this URL, you will able to download the MySQL connector.jar file. So this file is already installed on this, already downloaded on this machine. So here, after downloading, you have to select this option. You have to extract the file. You have to extract it, and after extracting it, you have to select the MySQL connector.jar. You have to copy this file and you have to put this file inside your Apache Tomcat folder. So Apache Tomcat folder is available on this machine on my D drive. So here inside this Apache Tomcat folder, inside the lib directory, lib folder, you have to paste this particular file. This particular file is already added here. So now, so our drivers are ready available on this machine. So with the help of this driver, we can connect to the MySQL database. So for connecting to the MySQL database, you have to move towards the Eclipse, and then so for establishing connection to the database, so I'm going to add a class inside this application. So I'm creating a new class for this and specifying the name of the class as data connection, and the package for this class as com.data.connection. Okay, this is the package that I'm creating for this particular class. So after that, I'm going to click on the finish option. So here the data connection class will be added. To connect to the database from your Java program, you need to import the java.sql package. So once you import the java.sql package, you should be able to create the connection object. So here I'm going to write one particular function, one particular static function which returns the connection object, and the name of the function that I'm giving is getConnection. So this function returns the connection object. This connection is a predefined class which is used to establish a connection to database. So here this function is going to return the connection object. So for that I am creating the connection object and initializing the connection as null, and I am returning the value, returning the object from this function. So after that you have to initialize this connection. To initialize this connection, first you have to load the drivers required for connecting to Java database, connecting to MySQL database from Java. So while connecting to MySQL database from Java, there may some error occur because of the no drivers because if the drivers is not there on the machine, the error may occur. So to handle that exceptions, I am specifying the try catch block here, and inside the try catch block, first you have to load the driver. For loading the driver, there is a class.forName function, and to this function you have to specify the name of the driver, and after the driver is loaded, so you have to initialize the connection as connection equal to. For initializing the connection, there is a driver manager class, and in that driver manager class there is a getConnection function, and this function requires the URL of the database, username of the database, that is root, and the password of the database. The default username and password of the MySQL database which is available in Xampp server is root and blank, and the URL that you have to specify here. Okay, so the name of the driver that is required for establishing connection to the database is, so I am making the copy of driver. So name of the driver is MySQL com.mysql.jdbc driver, and then the URL required for this is so here you only have to specify the name of the database to which you want to connect. So this is the URL for connecting to MySQL database. If the database is a part of Xampp server, you have to specify this particular URL. The port number of the database, default port number of the database is 3307, and this is the name of the database. This is the username. Root is the username to connect to the MySQL database, and the default password for the MySQL database is blank. So after specifying this, the connections will be initialized. And then you have to return the connections. If there is no error, the connection will be initialized and the connection will be returned from this. And if there is a error, so that error should be displayed here on console window. So for that I am writing here println e dot get message. Okay. So after that, I can import this particular package in my JSP page. The JSP page that I have created for saving the data is save.jsp page. I am moving toward the save.jsp page and importing the package here. To import the package in JSP page, you have to use the delimiter tag and then @ and then include, then page import equal to, this is the name of the package. What is the name of the package? com dot data dot connection. com dot data dot connection is the name of the package that we have given. So here I am specifying the name of the package, com dot data dot connection. Okay, dot star. Similar to that, we need to import the java.sql package, java.sql.star. So this class contains the statement object and other objects that are used for establishing connection to the database. So after importing these two packages, I can create the connection object, and I can initialize the connection object by calling the data connection dot get connection is a method. This will return the connection object that is to be initialized in the data connection dot java class. So after initializing the connection, we have to create the statement to execute the SQL command on database. Statement, I have created the object of statement class as yes equal to connection dot create statement. After that, the statement object will be initialized. With the help of this statement object, I can execute the SQL command on database. To execute any insert, update, delete command, we have to call the function execute update, and to this function you have to pass the query. So what is the query? The query is insert into, name of the table is food, and you have to specify the name of the column to which you have to insert the value. We have created the f name and email as a column in table, and then you have to specify the values for this column. So these both the values are var character. This value should be entered in single quote. So to concatenate the values of name variable here, I am writing like this, and after that I am going to concatenate the value of email variable with this query. So for that I am writing like this. Okay. So after that, that particular query will be executed, If the syntax of the query is correct, the query will be executed and the query return the result. Okay. If the return result of this query is greater than 0, it means the records are successfully inserted in the database. Then I'm going to display the message that system.out.println, the record is inserted. Right? And if there is a problem in insertion of the record, so I'm displaying the message in else part, record is not inserted. Right? So let's test whether this particular application works, and it store the record into data table. So you have to run the file page1.jsp. So you have to right click on page1.jsp and select the run as option and then run on server, and the application that you have to run is select save selected and finish. Restart the server. Okay, specifying the name here as DRS and the email as drs@gmail.com, and when I click on the same data option, so the message that I am getting here is record is inserted. It means the record is successfully inserted in a MySQL database. We can see whether the record is successfully added or not in a MySQL database. So I am moving toward the MySQL database and selecting this browse option. So here I can get the record that is added on the particular form. So in this way we can insert the record into MySQL database from your JSP page. So I hope you understand the things clearly. Thank you.